matter what it is. They do want to see some academic language, like I said, in your planning, in your instruction, in your assessment. So there are some samples of those that are loaded in D2L as well, about some activities you could try. They actually came from the TPA folks, so these are ones they've already said these are really good ideas. Okay, so take a look at some of the ideas they have to share. That can be very helpful for you as well. So we are told, how much coaching we can do. And they're pretty specific about this. So this has to be your work. It can't be your mentor teacher editing for you or reading through your stuff. It can't be your university supervisor editing or reviewing. It needs to be your work, your thoughts. But we can do the support sessions. We can offer the materials they have for you to say, here's some best practices, things to model on, because they know you kind of want something to go by, right? We all need a path. So those kinds of things are what we've got provided for you in there. So things that they've said are okay.
Do faculty and supervisors also have access to this information?
I sent it out the Making Good Choices to everybody. Yeah.
But some of the rest of the things that you've been talking about that are all in D2L?
I know I've sent them all out to the faculty at different times.
Could be added to the D2L site?
I don't know. We could try.
Or even live text. If they were all together?
Yeah, that's the nice part here about it's all together. I could see if I can get a faculty site or something so that you can see it. Because I do send them out, as I get them, but you're right, the students have them all in one location, which is kind of nice.
Very nice.
But, yeah. Okay, ongoing. So, file types, we talked about that. You need to upload your context for learning, so it's its own document, all the commentaries, your lesson plans, any supporting materials, those video clips, and the samples of student work. Samples of student work, typically what you're probably going to need to do is scan those in. Okay? We do have scanners here in the library. There's one in the Academic Commons now that EMSP purchased. I believe there's also one in CH102, which is the lab that's never a classroom. It's just kind of always open. So different places. And so when you scan something in, it's usually going to make it a JPEG file or a picture file. But they want to see the samples of student work. Take off. You could leave a first name if you want. Make sure you cross out last names, things like that. No identifying stuff for students.
Now, is that student work for just the three?
Just the three.
Students
yeah,
selected.
you don't need to upload everybody.
Right.
Yeah, that would be a lot. So just those 3 students, the focus students, are what you need student work for. You will probably need to create new sections to be able to hold all that. So that's where I talked about do a task 1, task 2, task 3. Emily?
When we pick the student work, does it need to be from the one that we videotaped?
Well, videotape really is usually of you teaching.
But what I'm saying is like so we have the videotape one.
Mhm.
Does the assignment or whatever have to come from that lesson?
From that lesson, no. Good question. Yes, I get that one a lot. It just needs to be your videotape and your student work have to be from one of those lesson plans you have in the planning task. They don't have to be from the same one you videotaped. Good question. I get that one a lot. Yep. So no, does not have to be the same. And that's why I say your videotapes can even be from 2 different days too. So let's see. So you have to compress it. You cannot submit PowerPoint or Smart Notebook files, and they talk about how to fix those. The one other piece that's changed a little bit this year, it used to be an option that was only out there for art, PE, and music, where they tend not to give paper pencil kinds of things. And so for them, they would let them do a videotape of giving feedback to a student. Like I've got 3 PE students and they're showing me their layup, and then I'm going to tell them how they're doing. They now, I believe, have that option for all of you. If you want to, for the student work, you could do, and it's a separate video, and I believe it's 2 minutes each per student, but it can be a video of you giving feedback to one student on here's how you did. So that is a piece that's a little bit different now, as they do allow that. So check your handbook again. I'm not sure it's the same across all handbooks, but I know that's an option that's been added for more areas. So you have to register with that voucher code. You'll get an authorization key. You need that to submit at the end. You'll submit through live text. So put them all in your portfolio first. That is the easiest way, because then from there you click on the assignment and it'll bring up this section with all the slots for you to fill, and you've already got them there. So it's much easier to attach them and send it on through. So in the directions, edTPA submission, I have screenshots, step by step, of what this looks like, okay? Which happened sitting by a student who was having trouble. And so once we started, you know, I can't see. They won't let me see what you're seeing because you're a student and I'm not supposed to be able to help you and all this. But we had worked with Pearson and we couldn't get this kid's files to go. So she said, can you just sit with them? We actually had the Pearson people on the phone going through. I'm like, is it okay if I just take some screenshots? And the lady's like, yes, please do. You know, show people. So I did. So you'll see step by step, here's the things you need to fill in. And so have those up, that should help you. There's some submission requirements, and I'm hoping these files will load. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, not so much. Okay. What that does is it shows you the kinds of error messages you can get. And again, that's in D2L. So if you're loading your stuff up and you get some kind of goofy message, a lot of times what happens with computers is they send you an error message, but it doesn't really tell you what the problem is. It just is the one somebody coded in there to send out. But at least you can see what the possible errors might be, and you'll kind of know where to look. So that document also came from Pearson and said, you know, here's what you can do. Let's see. If the directions in the handbook are not followed, you may be required to resubmit, and we've had that happen. Interestingly enough, the guy who was upside down did not have to resubmit, but because they could see him and it was nice and clear, so that wasn't a problem. But if you don't upload the right file types, don't have enough pieces in there, stuff like that, they'll make you go back and do it again. And we can't give you a grade until you've done it, so you have to have it in. So if it's deemed unscorable, you do have to go back and try again. Okay, so I'm going to see if these work, and if not, I do have them loaded here. Yeah, it's not going to work. All right, I'm going to come back. Guys, back here, I have most of these. Okay, so we'll go back and look. Here's the submission file. This will take a minute. They've got the new system loaded here, and it takes forever. All right, so this is what it will look like. You're on your dashboard, you have that assignment, you pick the one that you want. You've got this 3-step submission process, so they're going to take you through this. So this is kind of what your screen will look like. It gives the date, it's your TPA and what area. It's going to say, and I know you can't really see this here, have you already created files or live text documents, or do you need to still create them? Well, hopefully you already have, you know, you've already made your TPA portfolio, so you got it. You can click yes, and it'll take you right out to attach the files. And from there, you will submit. Now, a question I have into Pearson right now, it gives you 2 options here. Send to TPA, that's a yes, you have to send it to them. But the new requirements that we have from Board of Teaching to be accredited is that we also have to get them here. Well, there isn't a link that sends them to both. So my question for them is there a way that when you submit to TPA through LiveText that we just get a copy? Or do we need to send you back and do it twice? And they're still checking on that and have not gotten back to me. So I will let you know that part. I got a plan B for that just in case. We actually have an account in LiveText. It's SMSU Education, where you could just do a submit for review and get it to me that way too. And so if we don't get a good answer back from them, that's what I'll have you do so that we have it and we've got it, you know, everything covered. But that's why I say stay tuned to your email. Please be checking your SMSU email because I'm going to be sending you some of these things once I get answers and want to make sure everybody gets it. So, okay, let's see here. When you get to this one, I'm going to ask you to choose your files or previous files. Because yours will already be loaded in LiveText, you want to follow those previous files directions. So you're going to come here, it's going to list everything you've got, and then you'll just attach them from there. So that's what that one's about. On the order of the academic language, there is a piece in here they ask you at some point, and it might be back at the beginning. This is an academic language piece. You might hear them talk about an integrated provider. Integrated platform provider is the term. That's LiveText, okay? There are like 5 companies, 4 or 5, that Pearson will work with to go through. LiveText is one of them, but they, instead of listing them all out, they just keep calling it an integrated platform provider, and people are like, it's live text, okay? So when they ask you, are you submitting to Pearson or an integrated platform provider, you're using the integrated platform provider. So what will happen when you go to that previous files, you'll see everything you've ever uploaded to live text, so any portfolio will be there, but you can go in and just click on it and attach. And then once you have them all attached, it'll look something like this down here. You can open them and make sure it's what you think it is and that they're completed and everything else. And then you'll just click on the send to TPA. And that will be what it takes. You're not done. That's another big step. When you've sent it, what it will do, it will show up on my side so that I can see in live text who submitted, but you will also get an email back from Pearson. That email, a lot of people are like, okay, I got it, check it off. No, it tells you you have to respond to them in 48 hours. So if you don't open that email, it's not going to work. They want you to verify that it is you that submitted this thing. You're like, it's like an electronic signature. So make sure you get the notification that they've got it, because you want to know they've got it. But make sure you also go in and respond and they tell you what steps to follow. So again, check your SMSU email. Make sure you look at it and read that one. We've had that happen. People are like, I submitted it. Really, I did. And like, you know what? On my end, I show it submitted, but Pearson's saying they haven't got it. Well, it's because they didn't do that last step. So there's always another step. Yes.
So everything from task 1, 2, and 3 will be uploaded.
Yep.
And sent.
Yep.
Doesn't matter like what order.
Well,
you should probably do them in
not
order?
really. They're going to have slots for you to fill.
Oh, they will have
so,
slots.
yeah, and
Okay.
they're very specific. They're kind of nice about that. It's like lesson plan 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Here's my commentary for planning, and then here's my video, 1 or 2 clips. Here's my commentary. They have slots in each task for the things you'll upload.
Okay. And even
So-
in this too, or is that
This
completely
is the
different?
same thing.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah, the live text takes you to Pearson. You'll see the same screen, but it just goes directly there.
Okay.
So you don't actually bounce between 2 websites. It kind of just all goes in one. Yeah. Okay. This is what that looks like. I do have a shot of the slots. So that's what you'll see when you get to the planning one. So this is for literacy, your context for learning, the lesson plans, and it'll let you, tell you how many you can upload. Your instructional materials, and if you don't have any, that's fine. It'll just give you a place for them. Your assessment. Notice that's the new piece. There never used to be a slot for your assessment, and now there is. So, and then a place for your planning commentary in the next.
With the instructional materials, would that be like if you're going to give them a worksheet to work on?
It could be, yep. It might be a worksheet. It might be you ran an overhead and you're showing something. So just kind of anything extra. If it's a main part of your lesson, I would submit it so they can see it. So kind of think about it like if I'm scoring your lesson, what would you want me to see to know that you did in your lesson? I don't need the whole teacher edition, but I do need to know what were you showing the kids.
So if you're using manipulatives or something for a math lesson, could you like take a picture of them working with that or something? Would that be helpful?
You'd want that in your video if at all possible, because they don't really have a slot for you to
Okay, so that wouldn't count
upload
as,
something
like,
separate.
materials.
Yeah, there isn't going to be a way to. You know what you could do around that? It's not a bad idea. You could take a picture and then insert it into a Word document, because that's only going to take a Word document. There are ways to play with that. So you could say, we use these manipulatives, and here's the picture, and upload that. So
There are like PowerPoints, I know we'd have to change them to PDFs, that come through the textbook. Would we still have to submit those as instructional materials?
if they are a main part of your teaching, I probably would.
Okay,
Because
even if
you've
it's with
ever
the
watched a
textbook?
videotape, you can't ever see what's on the board for
Yeah.
PowerPoint, so I probably would.
Okay.
And just make sure they know you didn't make it, this is what came with
Okay.
with the
Yep.
curriculum, so.
Going along with the manipulatives, because in my class we have math trays.
Okay.
And they have like little math boxes with all the little manipulatives in it. And that's what we do majority of our lessons with, so that's kind of our assessment, because we don't do a whole lot of paper pencil because I'm in kindergarten.
Right, yeah.
And so, can I use that as an assessment, or should I find a workbook page. I mean, we
Oh,
don't
no.
use
You
it,
absolutely can use that as an assessment.
even though I won't have samples of it.
And then I might say for you, go ahead and do the
Okay.
3 2-minute videotapes of you
Okay.
watching a student and telling them what they're doing. Because, yeah, kindergarten, you don't do a lot of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we
Pencil,
do,
paper stuff.
but
Well,
one
but-
a quarter.
Yeah.
Maybe we
Yeah,
don't
so
do
that
it.
would work. And then as far as your supplementary materials, I'd probably do that. Take a picture and then just type into that, here's what's in that tray.
And what's included.
So people know what that is. And then
Okay.
here's, when I talk about it in my commentary, this is the thing that
Okay.
I'm referring to, so.
But in that situation too, you could just do a checklist, when you're visiting with your student, and you could check off that they understand the objectives that
And
you
that
have.
could be
Yeah.
an
Yeah, and
assessment.
you could have like, they understand it, they're not there yet, or they need a little more help, but you could actually do like an anecdotal note type
Mhm.
thing, or a rubric.
Right.
Okay.
So then you
Yeah.
can evaluate the students on that, and then you can take a picture of that. Then that's hard, concrete evidence that you assessed.
Okay.
Right.
In
So that could be an actual physical assessment, but the
Yes.
other piece I would say for the feedback piece though, because they're
In
gonna want to see
addition to
what
the
feedback
video.
they're giving you. Yeah,
Okay, so
the
do the
feedback
video
could be
and
on the
like a
video.
checklist.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, other questions on those?
If they play a game, we do a math game.
Yep.
Do you have to have a video of them doing the math game, or can you just take a picture of them playing the math?
Good question. If it is your assessment, and with little kids that could very well be, I'd almost be inclined to tell you to do the video. I think you can get a lot more out of seeing the video than you trying to describe it in a paragraph or two. I mean, you probably could do that, write it up if you want to, but I think it might be easier to
But
do
even if
video.
it's not for your assessment, it's just like one of your products?
I'd maybe have it be one of your video clips, is here's the students working on the
Now,
activity
if we
in
do
class.
that, if we do a little clip for that, do we have to shrink that and everything too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody gets shrink wrapped. So, yep.
So if we do play a game, all the materials to play the game, like the stuff that comes with the unit and everything, do we use that and submit that like hard copy somehow, or do you just take a picture of it, or hope it gets in there on the video?
Take a picture.
A picture might be good,
Okay.
because these are Word documents, the commentary pieces are, so you could insert a picture. If you can describe it reasonably well. The thing is, anybody who's scoring has to, are you doing math or literacy?
Math.
Okay, they have to have been taught elementary math.
Okay.
So, people with the background have to have been a teacher for several years to even be a scorer. So they have to have a pretty decent background on what they're looking at in the first place. You don't really have to describe it, totally.
They'll know that
But,
too.
yeah, some visuals kind of nice to be able to see what have we got, so.
I just want to go back to about the checklist. So we have like at the end of our, just to make sure, I'm doing
Yeah.
it, at the end of our chapter, they have like a checklist for all the skills they need to learn, and it is for certain sections.
Mhm.
So if I use that, and then like during math intervention time, and then we work on those struggling things, I could use clips working
Sure.
with the students for
Working with the
assessment.
students, yeah. Now, what I would say though, I don't know if you could hear what Sam was saying, at the end of her chapter, she's got this checklist of all the skills for the chapter. She's thinking about using that. What you'll probably want to do is pull out the ones that are just used.
Yeah, it has it for just the section.
Right,
Yeah.
because if you have the whole thing, obviously you're not covering
Yeah.
all that in your 3 to 5 days. But if you pull out, here are the ones I'm working with, and I tracked them back to these lessons, that should work really well.
Okay, and then I could do for like a more advanced student, like we do enrichment activities with them.
Sure, yep, and talking about where you're going with each student, that should work pretty well, yeah.
So in test 3, when we analyze the evidence of the language, so I'm doing math, and then it says you can use a video clip, or you can use the assessment task.
Yep.
So if I did a video clip, how would I use their language? Can I have them read the problem to me, and then they understand how to use that to find the solution?
It can be that. It can also be just you, like we're having discussion now, and you asking the students, so what is a quadrilateral? Crazy word. What is it? And having them describe what it means. Can you draw me a picture one? Oh, they do quadrilaterals in like 4th grade now, so yeah. But, I mean, pick a term and have students tell you what it is, have them use it in a sentence, draw a picture of it.
I have a really good kid who thought it said to add, and he said, oh no, I'm supposed to fix it. So I think I might use something like that when he kind of gets it.
Where he kind of gets that aha. It's nice to get the light bulb on tape, yeah.
So I was like, yes.
Woo, yeah. Okay. Any other questions on these things before I keep you going? Okay. One of the last places things can go wrong, and this is those little kinky things. You have to click on the I have read and accept the terms of service. People have had trouble trying to get it to go, and that's all they missed was this little bitty box that you have to do the terms of service. It won't go without it, so make sure you click on that. And I've got it in your directions here. And that's also where you enter your authorization key. So you can't get past there